Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Kim here, and today is an episode of cmego, chit chat, and whatever, cleaning off my desk. I'm gonna give this a try. I watch Darcy from Darcy's Mixed Media do Scrap Shoot. I watched Cindy from Studio Lou do Tuesday 10, and it never works for me. I've tried it, and then I end up deleting the videos and moving on to something else. But today I figured, I'm going to give it another try, but from a different point of view. I'm just going to do whatever I want, and whatever I get done, I get done. And I'm giving myself sort of under an hour to show you what I'm doing. So today is Wednesday, and yesterday was supposed to be my Techniques Tuesday. And it was a flip-flop. It's not that I didn't know what I was doing. I sort of was prepared, but I was doing some test runs of stuff before I actually showed you my technique, because I've been wanting to do this project for a long time. And there are 3 stages to the project. One was showing you how to build it, which was fine. I had no problem. There's 3 different techniques for building it. And then number 2 was to show you how to decorate it. Again, no problem there. And then the third part is where I struggled, was how to make it functional for what I was doing. And I couldn't quite put it together, because it is something that is specific for a journal. And because I didn't have the elements of a journal that were done and ready to go, I could not proceed. And I tried to do mock-ups, and they weren't working. So I figured, you know what, I'm going to put it on the back burner for now. And we've lost yesterday. Yesterday was Tuesday. It was a day off for us. I hope you worked on some stuff in your book. I know a lot of you are behind. So I just let it go. And then I said, you know what? Your desk is a mess, and no wonder you can't get yourself organized. You can't figure out what you're doing. So let's clean up a few little things off your desk, and whether it works, I don't know. We'll see. So we have less than an hour now, so I'm going to get started. This is my cluster book, and I talk about this book a lot, but it usually sits upstairs in my office, because that's where I seem to have the most little pieces of bits and pieces to work with. So I figured I'm going to bring it downstairs and show you, because I did have tags in here, and I wanted to transfer the tags over to my tag book. So I'm just going to quickly go through this again. I know you've seen it before, but I've really done a lot of work in here. And it's something I find so therapeutic. And when I had a day like yesterday where I was a little frustrated, and, my funk took a little mini vacation, and, I just said, nope, I got to regroup. So today was the perfect day for it. So I just said, I'm going to do whatever, find the smallest bits of paper and bits on my desk and clear them off. So on this page here, I just have words. Sometimes when I'm going through magazines, I find words that I like: Our Secret, Tea Time, Fun, Raise Your Glass, Condemned, Smarty Pants, Beach. So I just find words and I glue them in here, giving myself enough space that if I want to cut them out and use them on a project, there's room to cut them out. And, if I fill this sheet, I can start another one. I can cut out words as I need it. So I just figured this is a good place to collect those words instead of all over my desk. And then same with building clusters and little bits and pieces. So this was just some leftover bits. I'm using a binder that had music sheets in it, but I've since taken some of the music sheets out, and I've mixed all kinds of odds and ends papers in here. So any little binder you have at home, you can do that with. So some of you did actually watch my cluster book episode. And for those of you that are new, I just glue bits and pieces right into here, and I just keep going. And so this way, if I want this little image here, I can just cut it out. It's reinforced by adding it to the other paper, and then I can embellish it further as I go along. And that's kind of what happens. But these are addicting. You almost don't want to take them out, because I keep adding and adding little things to them. So here I've got some black and white images. I hope these are coming through clear enough for you to see. They're just mixed with a little bit of red. I do have a project that I may use these on coming up. So they're a longer piece. They may turn into sort of a journal pocket, I think. So I'm going to keep embellishing on that, and same with these ones. Just little bits and pieces. I had accidentally printed some things in black and white. My printer was set to black and white, and every time I would hit the print button, it would be halfway printed, and I'd realize, oh, I didn't change it to color. And so that happened a few times. And then here again, just, odds and ends pieces, and I just, whatever I have, I just clear off my desk with a few labels, a few little images. And it starts out just being a piece of paper that I glue down to the music sheet just to get it off my desk. And then I come along and add things whenever I feel like I just want to do something simple and not really give a lot of thought to it. This is very therapeutic and very easy to do. So I'm just going through, and here again, the background is, it starts out with the background is how I get started, and then I just keep adding. So here, this gold color back in the background here was a piece of wrapping paper, and just leftover bits and some die cut doilies in black that I had. So just going through to show you. Now this is where they get a little bit bigger. I liked this piece of paper, and I just kept adding to it, and I said, well, this will either make a nice journal card, or maybe an envelope front that I can add on to it afterwards. And then then I just did a little play with that stuff up there. More sets of 4. So these are great when you are making tags and you just want to add a little cluster on top to give it a little more decoration. Then I would come along and tear some of these out of the book for that purpose. Now I'm here on this pink page, and I have lots of pink scraps here left over from the other day. I don't know if you remember me using those little pink flowers, but I had a strip of this dress. And this is one of those times where I went against the rules, and I just cut the strip off because there was, this was sewn using serging machine, and it has serging as well as a seam where they originally sewed it, and then this serging was to finish off the edges. It is so hard to take that stuff apart, and you're left with so many holes. When I want something really shabby looking, where I want it distressed looking, then I do take these apart. But for this time, because I was using that pink dress and I was cutting it up, I just cut the seams off and left the material. And then I thought this would make a really cute little snippet roll. So all I did was I took pieces of this tulle. Do I have a piece that's left over? Yes, I do. I just took pieces of the tulle, and I cut them up into little bits. I'll just cut this one to show you. And I just kind of scrunched it up. And taking my glue gun, I don't have a glue stick in there. Taking my glue gun. So you'll see this is really a mishmash today, but this is what I need. So taking my glue gun, I just put a little dot in here, and then scrunched up this little piece of tulle and laid it down in there. And just to reinforce it a little bit more once it's dry, yeah, I do press my fingers into the glue. Actually, that's pretty good. It's a little bit longer than what I normally like to use, but just trim some of it off. And then I just added one of these little flowers. Now I don't have any left on the table, and I already put the jar away, but I will come back and do that. So this is kind of what I was working with to make this little roll. And I will add things like buttons and pearls. I will just keep playing on this as I come across things. I had one little dangle from that ribbon of dangles that was just one single one. So I glued it. You can't see it, but I glued it underneath here and then made a cluster of flowers. So I will just keep playing with this, and then it'll go in my snippets box, and when I want something I can just cut it off. In fact, I may even use it in some of my clusters today, so that's why it's kind of still here as well. But I have all these other little scrappy bits. The other day I was working with that checkered fabric. There's a piece here that I might use, and so that's how it starts. And then, you know, I've got these two clusters here with roses on them. And so I'm going to just take one of these little and just give it a try here and see. So I'm just cutting it off. I'll just cut that down a little bit and see where I can put it. Maybe not on that. Maybe on this one. Maybe there. How about right there? That's cute. Or up there. Oh, I think it's going on this one, even though it doesn't even match the colors. I think it looks nicest over here. So I'm just going to take my hot glue now. I had stapled these on, or stapled them together, so I know that they're really well put together. But I'm just going to add it there onto this page, and hope you can see that okay. So then I'm just going to keep going here and turn the page. I got a couple of things that I wanted to add some stuff to, so I will just show you as I go along and then maybe go back and add things. So there's lots of possibilities to use these pink flowers in this stuff here too. That would look cute, but I'm not in a hurry to use them just yet. Then there's some browns here. These are pretty neutral. Now, I had a piece of washi tape. My friend Thelma, whenever she sends me a package, hi Thelma, whenever she sends me a package, she always covers it in washi tape, and I always peel it off of the envelope, and then I reuse it. Yeah, I know. So the fun part about creating on here is I have the back side here, and I'll just take my glue stick and apply a little bit of glue to this washi tape. Just this little stamp thing, and I'm going to glue it on my cluster. So maybe I'll have to send one of these back to Thelma and just add it onto this cluster. And add another one up here, maybe to that one. So sometimes they start out as being 6 or 5, in this case 5 separate ones, but this could end up being all one big piece, depending on how things end up. And I can use them to decorate pockets. And so here is where I'm already starting to work on that idea, that I'm just going to make it into a pocket, sort of a half belly band strip. Should we do this one too? We might as well. We're right here. This one's got a butterfly on it, so I will use the butterfly that I see in here. And a piece of tulle that I don't need. So yeah, I'm just trying this out to see if it's something that I can do on camera and if it gets you guys interested enough. Although, you know, I won't always show you my gluing and stuff, but, you know, it's just a way for me to regroup, clear off my desk a little bit, and keep going. So this was some washi, or sort of a washi type masterboard that I've made. The idea here was I was using up all kinds of little strips, and then I started adding little focal points on here, and I will now cut this into pieces. It does have a back that I've already glued onto the back, so I could cut this into 4 tags and make, or a couple of journal cards, or I could cut it into strips to use as sort of you know, labels and all kinds of embellishments on a project. Same with this one, just washi style, using up any strips that I had in my way, and I've covered the backs. So here I've got a little bit more where there's only a few elements on the page. So again, this is, you know, it's one of those things that I can add. Oh, that's so cute right there. I have to add it. And so, yeah, that's perfect. So I will just put a little hot glue on this one. And you can see why I don't throw away my scraps. I just keep adding things to it. Now, she's got a lot of lace. I don't know if you can see her. I'm going to go up a little closer. She's got a lot of lace in her dress. I don't think I want a flower on here, but I do have this cream colored lace in my pile here, so I'm just going to add a little piece to her. And eventually these will come out for projects, you know, for my journals and stuff. I just haven't got there yet where I'm using them. So a little bit of hot glue. Adding this on. Now this original idea came from Shabby Dabby Doodah, Tina, to put them into your book. And I absolutely love the idea, although her book method didn't quite work for me, which is how I came up with this one. So the nice part about this one is I can take pages out, add new pages in anytime I'm working on stuff. Now here, this is just a couple of Civil War type dudes, and I've got a piece of that red checkered fabric, a little strip. So this is why I keep all this stuff, because sometimes I just go along and I come up with methods to use it. And, you know, there does come a point where I say, okay, enough, Kim, you can't keep all this stuff. And you can't save the world as much as you would like to. You can't save the world. And, you know what? I think I kind of like these rough threads for now. Some days I do, some days I don't. Yeah, I'm going to keep it rough like that. So again, I'm just running some glue. Adding this on there. And this little piece of fabric now gives me an opportunity to, you know, maybe add a label or, you know, some type of words on here. So it's just kind of giving me that add something look to it. But I don't have anything in front of me. So the idea was just to clear up what I have and to show you what I'm doing. Here, this is just some magazine cutouts that I had. You know, sometimes I sit and cut magazines, or I have leftover images, and I figured I'll just put them on here. It's a cream colored background, so I can either cut it flush against the image, or I can leave a little tiny bead around it, which is why I spaced them like that. And then I can tuck it into a book. And because it's cardstock and it's a cream color, it's already like a journal card on the back, or a ticket, or however I want to use it. So it's, again, a way to get them off my desk and where I can see them when I'm doing something and use them up. This one was done on white cardstock. And it was just, I had some strips. These are all strip pieces. It looks like it's a whole sheet behind the image, but it's not. It's just some strips that I used to make a frame around the picture. I actually glued the picture down first, and then I made these frames to go around it. And then I took stickers, and, you know, I'm not real fond of these acetate stickers, so I figured I'm going to just use them all up on this page. They're words of sentiment, but they're not always translated correctly from you know, the person who created them. So they speak another language, and their translation to English wasn't quite perfect. So I figured, you know what, if I mix them up and I glue things over top and, you know, kind of do a mixed collage where you can't actually see the writing, it just looks pretty because of the font and the color, but disguises what the words were, which didn't make sense. And you know, just creates more interest on this page. So this page has an opportunity to add more of these little flowers if I wanted to, but I'm kind of done with this for this project. So I'm just gonna go on to the next page. But sometimes I have a little leftover bit, and I want something to a place to put it. So I just open this book and I flip through until I find a place where I can actually use it up. So these I just put down. They had only been stapled, so I'm going to just give them a quick little glue down. And I will glue them better when I'm actually going to use them on a project, but I just didn't want them flipping up too much here. So I'm just catching them a little bit. These were clusters I had made, just stapling things together. These are images that are in my free image collection. This one's glued down. This one just needs a little bit of tack in here. And when I actually go to use these, that's when I really secure them well. Now, these clusters, I had made them separately, but I glued them down to the brown page. Again, that I can either cut around them, sort of fussy cut around them, or tear around them, or just take them right off the page. But I think I've glued them down pretty good. So I may have to take the brown with me, but if I tear it underneath, then it wouldn't show. But in some cases, I may want the brown to show. So it will depend on the situation when I'm using them. So I still have 2 more of these little stamps, and I figured this was the perfect color to get this off my desk. And then I have another one here. This is a deer. So first I'm going to glue that down a little bit better. Now this one, I think I might want to add a little piece of this lace. Yeah. So I'm going to add some lace here. Just catch a little bit more here. But now I don't know if I want to use the deer on that one. So maybe I'll put the deer here. Yeah. And the next thing I'm going to show you is my tag book. As soon as I've gone through this one. And since I've got lace on that one, I'm going to put a little bit of lace on here too. And like I said, these will continue to sit in here until I'm ready to use them, or even if they're fully decorated, I could maybe start another book where the ones that are done, but I don't know, sometimes you just keep adding and adding. Now, when I'm gluing on the other page, I do have to be careful to not glue the 2 pages together. So I will, actually, I'm going to put something in there just for a second. I'll stick that in there. And so here I have one more cluster. Now on this little cluster, I took some of the same checkered material and I just made a little nest here with the threads. And I had one more stamp here that I used up. So I've used up all of those stamps from Thelma. Thank you, Thelma. And I still have some of this piece here, but I'll just stick it back in my little tray and just keep going. So this is just a kind of a masterboard that I'm working on. As things come on my desk, I just put them on here. The back is plain white, so I can just cut this up for journal cards or tags when I'm done. If I cut them up for tags, because they have the 3 holes in here, I can actually cut them into nice 3 tag strips, and I'll get 3 tags out of here. Same with this one. This was music, and it says Department for Violin, so I added a violin image here, and now this one says Department for Children. So I know it has to do with music, but I'll probably add a little girl down here somewhere. And Department for Violins, I'll probably add another violin when I come across my violins. Now this one, just a brown paper book page, a vintage book. And I had this image, it's not super clear, but it's of some bohemian style people, and they're all looking at her, and she was just so beautiful. I had to add her onto here with those people looking at her. And then same with this one. It's kind of like in a camp, and they're not really very clear, but that was the whole point, was that they were kind of faded out looking at them, and then they're looking at this beautiful bohemian woman. And actually, in my mind, this little girl ends up being her. And so again, just it was just a page of people that I had, so I just used them to be looking at this beautiful girl in this picture. And my plan with these is either to make a tag or a journal card, or, I may attach them as a flip or an envelope. So lots of opportunity. So I worked right in the center so that I can cut it out whichever way I want, and then add or subtract as I go along. A few more little clusters. This one has labels. And it's just whatever I have. A couple of blank pages ready to go, ready to add more. So I just... I put 3 holes in them. I stick them in the book here. And when I want to add something, I just have a page that's empty and ready to go. Some more here where I've done the cluster this way, knowing that I'm going to probably have sort of a landscape look to it. And so I kept going with this little girl too. This one is just, I carefully looked. Actually, I'll open this out to show you. I carefully looked how this could be folded, and I folded it up to make an envelope. So I knew where the envelope was going to be. And then I trimmed the top edge so that when I turn this over, it will have a nice finish on here. And then I also trimmed that part of it so that when I make a little thumb notch in here, it will also be very sturdy to use. And it was just something I had written on, and here I just left myself a note: envelope, add a stamp. So when I come across, oh, I had those stamps. I could have added one of those stamps on here. But when I come, actually I've got one. My little handy cart now. I have some Queen stamps. I'm going to add that one. So my stamp is now added. And I will keep embellishing this further, but you can see that when I fold this up, there's the stamp. And I will eventually, collage so that there isn't holes in it when I take it off of here. And I can also ink the edges, add fabric, add embellishments, whatever I like, add a cluster. So that's just going to sit in the book. And so if you have pages that you want to do that to, you could even take your ink once you've folded it. You could actually take your ink and just ink it a little bit so you have that dividing line, so you know this is the top of your envelope and the bottom. And since we're doing it, might as well go all the way around and do the other side this way, in case I change my ink color. This has all been at least done once. It's not to say I couldn't go over it again. But at least it'll all look uniform. Okay, how's our time? Oh, I still got time. Okay, so now I have a more defined edge of where my envelope is, and I'm not going to thumb notch it right now, although I probably should because of the inking, but I'll leave that for right now. Just moving on to show you. So here's just where I have one little piece in here, and then this I just collaged over top using up this black and white print. I think what I'll do is print this same set in maybe I'll just do a colorize on my print and print red, and then maybe cut out the butterflies to match and glue them over top in the red, sort of off center so that you can still see the black underneath. That's my thought there. Or I may, take some gold paint and play with gold and outline things and see what I can come up with. So it's just sitting in here until I have that right idea. Same with that one. Here is a page that I just started to glue things down with the idea it folds up, that I may use it like this, or I may cut these out. This is a kind of a tri-fold piece here. I do have these on my coffee site, and they're tea cards or tobacco cards. I can't remember. What does it say here? Cigarettes. Okay, so they're cigarette cards. And so I just glued them onto here, knowing that I can, when I want one, I can cut it out and fold it up as a, like a little folded card. But this paper was really long that I stuck in here, so I just figured, well, I can work with it like this until I've filled a page. And the nice thing about it is that it's cream color on the back, so it's ready to go as a journal card or tag or whatever I make. Now, here I left the white line in between. I probably should have at least cut that away. Excuse me. But what I'll do is I will cut it flush when it comes time. Or I could even cut these out together. They're the same size, so I could probably fold it and make a little booklet. And it's done on the inside, which then I can just cover that with a little bit of lace when I'm ready to do that, or some type of washi tape or something, and make a little folded card. So yeah, happy accident. And then just more blank pages like that, ready to go. Don't laugh at me, but and don't think I'm crazy. But for some reason, I said, you know what? I needed a spray bottle downstairs, and it was a Febreze bottle, and I don't like the distraction of labels on things when I'm not using it, when it's not Febreze anymore. I'm just using it to hold water to spray things. And so the labels came off so easily. I just stuck them down on here, and I said, okay, well, we'll just play on some advertising and see if we can come up with something. But, you know, there's the pink in here and the blue. So who knows? I could add, you know, simple things like stuff like this and you know, cover up the Febreze, just play with the flowers that are in here or where it says fabric. I can add things. So I don't know. I just stuck them in here and said, well, let's see what happens. And if nothing else, they will just get, you know, be backgrounds for something. So I've got more pages here to work on, and I will add and subtract as I go along. This is just some computer printouts that didn't work. It was a folded page or a full page, so I just folded in half, put holes in it, and I figured however I use it, I use it. Whether I use this as the back side and collage over top of here, or whether I collage over the whole thing. That's something yet to be decided. And then just odds and ends scrap papers, you know, note paper and stuff. I like the fact that I can collage on this side. It's clear on this side. And so I just stick them in here and whatever happens, happens. So that's my cluster book right now. And then you watched me, if you did watch the Antonio Makes Monday this past week, I made these skeleton tags, and I had one left over, so I haven't cut this. I was going to cut it. I didn't do it yet. I had one left over, so I put it on my tag book. I also explained my tag book in that video, so I'm not going to redo it. But this I will continue to collage on here as I find things that I like. I used a lot of the elements that were on the table at the time. So here comes that pink again. Excuse me. I had pink lace, so I just made a belly band here to just add this tag in here that, you know, I may use as a background for one of the other tags. It's just to remind me that's, you know, I can add things in here until I'm ready to glue them in. And this was a page where I had cut something out already, so I just left this hanging because it's plain color in the back. I can add a tag onto here and it's got a nice finished back. And adding the tags on here just gives it way more strength, and I still have the option to decorate them in here just like I do with the cluster books or the cluster book. But at least they're off my desk. And so many times, you know, you have a whole digital sheet and you cut one or two images out of it, and then you've got this flip-floppy sheet. You either have to cut it up, and then you've got these papers all over your desk. So for me, I just cut it up and put it in here right away. Some of them I cut flush so that I can use the brown as a bead in this case, or I can cut it out right against the tag if I don't want that trim around it. Same with here, just glued down. And these were just to get that piece of paper off my area here. And so I just kept going with them. When I have a journal where I'm working and I need tags, I will quickly go through here and pull anything that's, you know, interesting that I want to use. So they're just at a starting point. I can add, you know, labels, flowers, birds, you know, tickets, whatever I want at this point. But I just haven't worked in this book. But I really love this whole idea. Now, this was sitting in here only because I wanted to glue it down to this page. And it's a photo, so I didn't want it to be just with the glue stick. So I needed to use a heavier glue. So I'm using my white glue for this. So I'm just adding that in. and knowing full well that I will be embellishing this further. So this is kind of an artist trading card size, but it could easily be a journal card or a bookmark or something to put in your journals. And I've got lots of room down here at the bottom that I can expand on. All of these edges that I have left over, my plan is when I do finally take one of these sheets out of here, I will turn these extra pieces into either labels or tickets of some kind by ink stamping on them, and or maybe I could collage over top of them, because something like this I can just take a little strip of lace and glue that down just separate from everything else, and then add a couple of those little flowers or something to it, and that becomes an instant little cluster, and I can use it in another area. So I don't waste these pieces. I do try to use all of this up as much as possible, just because, including in between the holes. If I'm not cutting them out for the purpose of tags where I'm using the holes, then I will at least salvage it that way. Another thing I can do, although this is a little too heavy, is I can leave this attached to whatever is beside it and use it as fold it back and use it as a flip, so that I can have this tag flip in and out of my journal if I want. So I do consider that as well if I'm going to cut these out. So then I come to the skeleton tags. Now this one is just one by itself because I had already used the other tags, and same with this one. I had used the other 3 that were on here, but they are secure in here. And this one now has a white background, so all I have to do is cut this out, ink it up a little bit, and maybe add a piece of ribbon and a tie, and it's ready to go in a journal. So that's why now this one has writing on the back, but I can cover that up and still have a little bit of writing space left over. And in this case where they have the music, I may want to put an additional back on here, or I may want to use these as embellishments, as I showed you in my video with Antonio Makes. And so I have lots of options. This is another situation where, yes, I left the white around the edges, so I do have to cut it out, or all these little scrappy bits can be shabbied around the edge. Like I have some white quilting here. I could shabby around the edges of this, and then it no longer is a tag. It no longer is a tag. It can be a journal card. I've got a couple pieces of this pink, so I can start embellishing on this just as it is, and it just becomes a focal point in a larger piece. So that's one way for me to get rid of the white edge that I left on here. The other, of course, is to cut it out flush against the paper. But I wouldn't do that until I've glued it onto something if I'm going to use it as a tag. Then I would, once it's glued onto there, then I would cut the whole thing flush so that they're all cut out at the same time. And then just more of the Halloween tags. Now, in this case, I've got lots of empty space, but I will use it for adding a few little clusters in here. And when I start to work on these, I'm most likely going to be working in these colors. So I will add things onto the page that I can cut out and work with it together. So I like to make everything the same and put them all or use up all the space as much as I can. So, because these are larger tags, and so they only have, I can only fit one on the page. I probably could have fit a couple of small ones, but that would have meant printing another page. And it's not to say that I won't find other things that I can use on here. I can add, create some clusters. And then when I finally do take this tag out of the book, I can take this cluster and glue it into my cluster book. So yeah, again, two tags on the page, room for a third, and some larger ones and more small ones. The rest of the book is still, coming along, but I'm pretty sure I'll have this filled up in no time. So that's the 2 journals. And, in just doing a few little things today, before this, and like, I'm not going to show anymore. This is already getting pretty long, but, just in doing a few little things today, I've cleaned off more space on my desk. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, there's a little bit more room here to work with. I do plan to come back to these today off camera, and I may do another episode and stick it aside for later on. So we'll see. But I'm gonna shut off now. I don't think I got 10 things done, but I talked a lot and showed you a lot, and I hope it's not too repetitious because you have seen both of these books. But I just thought, sometimes we need to be reminded to get that binder or get that piece of paper. And, as you have things on your desk, it's a great way to get it off your desk. So that's it for today. I wish you all a very creative day and a creative week. I promise my funk will be coming back. I just have to play a little bit more here by myself and, regroup and rejuvenate. And I will be back tomorrow with my Thrifty Canucks video on Thursday. I have a good haul. Oh, I have a good haul for tomorrow. So we will talk to you all soon. Bye for now.